Okay. Good morning, beloveds. I'm not entirely sure I'm awake. I had a very, very, very busy weekend. But a good one. So, here we are. So I'm just trying to catch up now. Okay, we are doing a new design for living. We are in chapter 14. Let's do the housekeeping before we get into it. And all the housekeeping is me reminding you, we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. That will get you one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. The hot links are hot, and it is a blind CC, which means nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. Also, I mentioned the social medias merely from the standpoint of we do not monetize them. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do instead is to go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual post by reacting, commenting, and sharing. So, and we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark based on the platform. And I am the running Rev Ryan across all of the social media, all of the platforms that I'm on. All right. So a new design for living is The Process of Science of Mind. This is one of the last books that Ernest worked on. There have been books put together after, he passed, but this is one of his last. And, I think he did a lot of theory, and finally he said, okay, let's just lay out the steps. Let's lay out the process. There is theory in here, because I like to say science of mind isn't a religion. It's really a philosophy. It's a way of life. Because we don't teach you what to believe. We teach you how to believe and why that's important. So, and that's what this is. It's okay, these are the steps. These are how you do them, why you do them, and why it's important that you do it this way. Why this way is particularly effective. So that is what this book is. We are currently in chapter 14, The Abundant Universe. And, because that's one of the things. And he flat out said it in the introduction is look, if you look around at nature, nature is abundant. Why aren't we? Why aren't we acting like, why do we act like there's not enough? So, and that actually is the title for today. There is more than enough. So let's see what Ernest has to say about that. We need to expand our thinking of what abundance means to us. As a first step, let us learn a lesson from the scientists. They discover and use the laws in nature. They are not afraid that these laws will ever wear out or become depleted. They use them with perfect confidence that they are available for limitless use. In much the same way, we can add 2 and 2 and get the sum of 4. It does not matter how seldom or how frequently we add 2 and 2, the result will always be the same. There is nothing that determines that we may use the laws of addition so much and no more. Too often, we seem to have the feeling that life is just a certain size, that it can only mean so much to us, that just a certain amount of it is measured out for our experience. If we have abundant success, there is not enough abundance left for us to also have health. If we love our immediate family, there is not enough love left to have a sense of love for all our fellow humanity. If we have 2 friends, that is all the friendship we can express. We can get along with some people, but not all people. We can be happy and joyous only for an hour or 2 a day. What are you doing down there? Oh, cat, by the way. He's under the... I don't know. He's up against my ankle doing something weird. Something cat weird. Okay. The laws of nature are limitless, whether they be mental or physical. But just as we have limited ourselves in the use of physical law in the past by ignorance of its nature and the way to use it, so are we not limiting ourselves in the conscious use of spiritual law. We have to realize that law is always available, always ready for our constructive use, and that what determines the degree to which we use the law is the nature of our own thought. The directive factor, the pattern through which life flows, the mold in which life becomes manifest, our own thought. We have to carefully watch what thoughts we hold up to the mirror of life that will be reflected back to us in our experience. Is our pattern of thought one of abundance or limitation? And it's interesting that he ends on a question, because the next article is called "Grow Up Mentally." Okay, and that's one of the he likes to use the garden metaphor. So I would imagine that Ernest must have had an amazing garden. And it's the pattern and the trend. You know, not each individual weed, but if you notice that you got a lot of weeds in your thought, a lot of limiting thoughts, then you're like, and I've said this before, I think I said it within the last couple of days, you know, it's like when you have a limiting thought, one of the first questions you want to ask yourself is, whose voice is that? Is it your own voice, or is it somebody who was thoughtfully helpful when you were growing up? As a woman, you know, there were a number of times that I was told, well, you can't do that because you're a woman. What? So if I had that thought, then I'm like, well, whose voice is it? Because it's clearly not mine. Because there's a number of things that people told me that I couldn't do because I was a woman, and I went and did, you know. So it's just like, so when you have those limiting thoughts, a good question to ask yourself is, whose voice is that? And the second question is it helpful? You can also ask if it's true, because most of the time with limiting thoughts, they're not true. They are not true. So it's like, whose voice is that? Is this helpful? Is this true? And if the answer to, you know, the second and third question is no, well, then you can go back to the first question and go, well, you know, why did that person tell me that? Did they tell me that because they loved me and they were afraid for me? That's a limiting thought. Or did they tell me that because they loved me and that was their experience? You know? And then you can decide whether you want to keep that thought or not. Or if you want to trade it in or up level it. You know, trade it in for a higher thought. Trade it in for something less limiting. Trade it in for something that is unlimited. So tomorrow we'll find out about growing up. But yeah, he's definitely established that there is an abundant universe, and in the last chapter, the successful chapter, you know, he's like, look, even when you're limiting yourself, you are successful. So you already know how to do this. All we got to do is change what you're thinking, which is why he's got a book out there called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. It really is that simple, even if it's not that easy. Okay? Or maybe it's that easy, but not that simple. I don't know. Take your pick. But that's what it is. So when you hear those thoughts, those limiting thoughts, those not abundant thoughts, whose voice is it? Is this helpful? Is this true? All right? Okay. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow and we will talk about grow up mentally. So, I'm now going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, let's get this week started off right day, a stop and take pictures of the flowers day, because I did this morning, a cuddle your fur babies day, a tell somebody you love them day, a drink plenty of water day, I'm still working on rehydrating from Saturday, a do what you got to do day, and make sure you make time to sit down and rest day, well, apparently I'm out of words day, a good day, and if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough, just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the day. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a beloved expression of the day. Okay, why not, right? You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, and an absolutely beautiful masterpiece. And a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, so explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on into the process of my day. So I'm going to remind you, Reverend David should be on around, well, Reverend David will be on this evening. We'll leave it at that. I will be back with you between 9 and 9:15-ish. Take care of yourself. Know that you are